have a disease that's on the list, okay? But yes, this is what I've been doing now for about 3 years. I've helped about over 100 people get their legal exemptions. And I put together a couple last year. And this has been sort of a bit of a dream of mine because, you know, when you see, we all have a doctor, right? Do we all not have a doctor? Yeah. And you walk into your doctor's office and there are brochures everywhere from pharmaceutical companies. I have watched many a time a pharmaceutical agent walk in, give a pile of crap, and then continue on to give free samples. Tons of free samples, Prozac, Ativan, Cialis. Hey, my birth control pills 20 years ago were free. Trifazole 21 was giving them away, thankfully, at that time. But regardless of that, I decided I want to be a walking pharmaceutical salesman, but I want to do it for medicinal cannabis, and do it the right way. I can't give away free samples, though. They were going to arrest me for that. But at least being legal, I can show the receptionist and the doctors what the product is, what it looks like. They can't have it, but at least they can look at it and smell it. So, and the aroma of my Afghani bull rider is just, oh my God. I took the 33 pages of those awful exemption forms. Now we all know none of us have to fill out 33 pages for Tylenol 3, or to go buy a bottle of liquor down the street, or a pack of cigarettes. 33 pages is absolutely ridiculous. And this is a daunting task for any patient, for any person, just to get, what, medical pot? Why should you have to be filling out 33 pages? No one's ever died from it. So I photocopied them all, and then I took a pile of information about different diseases and the proven benefits of therapeutic marijuana. And in here is a list of all the compassion clubs in Canada. In here is a list of books, Dr. Ethan Russo, Dr. Todd McArea, just a small list of books for doctors to look at, or RCMP officers, or bylaw officers, or your next door neighbor proving the therapeutic value of cannabis. And I also took stuff offline and proving that, you know, cannabis works for MS, cannabis works for Crohn's, cannabis works for depression. And I decided to distribute these to as many people as I possibly could, and as many people that want them. I've been funding this through my t-shirt business, and like I said, this is a labor of love. But this labor of love that what it has done is enabled so many people to walk into their doctor's office and say, look, here is the proof that cannabis works. I'm not an idiot. I don't need to be taking any more pharmaceuticals to have my liver dilapidate on me, or have my, God, I could go on about what dilapidates in your system from pharmaceuticals besides your mind. And all I want is medicinal cannabis. So it is against your Hippocratic oath not to sign these forms for me. Doctors are supposed to be working for us, not themselves. And I produce my own show on YouTube called Michelle's Medicinal Marijuana. And this is a show I'm very, very proud of. It's given me a lot of practice in public speaking. It's given me a lot of practice on not being completely sweaty on my armpits when I'm in front of an audience. And it's given me a vehicle to tell the world that you can be a normal, mortgage-paying, tax-paying citizen and be a responsible cannabis consumer. And also by allowing the world to see that what harm are we causing? No one has ever died from this substance. We all know this. No one has died from cannabis. And all of this started 70, 80 years ago because of money. All because of money. And what everybody has to do here is try and conform the unconformed. We need to spend time outside our usual activities. I know we all like to hang out with each other as activists. We all like to hang out at the same gatherings, but I joined Toastmasters in Maple Ridge, okay, Toastmasters. I go to my local gym, and I wear my medicinal t-shirt to my local gym. I have now enabled 4 people to get their exemptions because they looked at my shirt and went, ooh, it's an opening for conversation. It's an opening to discuss the issues.
It was your shirt they were looking at, right?
I will tell all of you, my bail restrictions forbid me from having any contact with Mark Emery outside of 307 West Hastings. And apparently he is here today, so none of you have seen me speak to him, and nor will I be able to. I have to speak through his lovely wife. Yes, this is a kind of an odd situation after 4 years. We can't hang out together outside of our own store that we had for a decade. But regardless of that, we are still fighting an extradition. And it has been postponed and delayed, and I firmly believe the reason is because our government, our Canadian government, took $10,000 to $12,000 per month from that supposed illegal internet seed business. They wanted the money, they asked for the money, and now we're in this loophole of they know that they used the money, so they're criminals themselves. And they can't give it back, can they? Now, I'm hoping, of course, this situation will resolve itself and everybody will understand the lunacy of it. And I'm very hopeful and very grateful to everybody who has been so supportive of it. But I try not to focus on the extradition because I feel that we have so much work to do in trying to, yes, conform the unconformed, trying to get to our politicians. And I know this sucks. I mean, politics sucks. I've been doing this for a decade. But if we do not talk to them, send them education packages, they're not going to hear us. And proof of validity of this is I have a small story to tell, which I think I have enough time to tell. A couple of weeks ago, our leader, Michael Ignatieff of the Liberal Party, presented himself in Gastown. And of course, I went to this event. Because at that time, there was speculation that he might become Canada's next Prime Minister with the supposed coalition that Jack Layton and Giuseppe had put together. So Ignatieff had talked about green shift, talked about the pension plan, of course, that people my age and younger are not going to be able to get a pension plan. It's all been sucked dry. And then he went on to talk about Afghanistan, and he took questions. He did take questions. And luckily, I got the last question in. And of course, I presented myself in actually this skirt and this red medicinal t-shirt. And respectfully, I said to Mr. Ignatieff, what is your stance, the Liberal Party, and if you become Prime Minister, will you protect not only the medicinal, but the responsible recreational users in this country of cannabis? And will you also listen to the statistical reports, whether it came from the Fraser Institute with Professor Stephen Easton saying, hey, we can make billions of dollars off of this, and redirect the money into fueling Canada's failing economy? Well, the man stood there boldly and said, well, this isn't an issue for me to decide on right now. In front of, there was 200-300 people there. And they all booed him. And then he decided, no word of a lie, and this is where I get a little upset, and you have to understand that we were in Gastown. We were right next door to our marginalized downtown east side. He said, well, we have a drug problem, and we have to be careful with marijuana. Oh, okay, what year am I in? This is year 2009. Michael Ignatieff worked for Pierre Trudeau. He talked about how much he loved Pierre Trudeau, revered him. Pierre Trudeau was one of the men who smoked pot and hash and enjoyed it. John Lennon said to him he was probably one of the greatest leaders he'd ever met. So here's a man standing in front of me, in front of his constituents, saying that you think cannabis is like the crack and the heroin and the cocaine? He believed that it was good for pain. So at this point I said to him, in front of all these people, here's my medicinal cannabis education pack. And he said he would review it. And I said, well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And he knew I was vice president of the BC Marijuana Party. He knew I was Michelle Rainey, and he knew I was up for extradition to the US. Now, this was public, so obviously this man does have to give an answer. Now, here we are, 3 weeks later, and I haven't got an answer. And that wasn't the only situation that happened, because he stayed a week in Vancouver, and the next day after that event in Gastown, he went on the Bill Good Show on CKNW. Talk Radio 980, very popular station. And he was taking questions. So, of course, I called in. And I'm going to tell you guys a little secret here. I said to Bill, Hi, Bill Good. My name is Emily Rainey. Emily is my 66-year-old mother. Obviously, I don't have a voice like my mother, it's a little bit younger, but I said, Bill Good, I've been a fan of yours for years. And I said, Mr. Ignatieff, my daughter, Michelle Rainey, was present at your Young Liberals event in Gastown and had the honor of meeting you, and she posed a question to you. She told you that she was